Okay, here we are back in Georgia, round two, tour of North Georgia stage race. So they do it in two parts, and this is the Criterium that I posted last month. But this is, there's Jamie going in front of me there, Jamie Carney. This is the same course that we raced on, but in the opposite direction. So this is going into turn one right here. We just passed the start-finish line after the first lap. We take a left turn, and this is an uphill section here. So this is probably the hardest part of the course. I think this burned a lot of people off. This is the actual front of the race. I'm sitting third wheel right now, and we just finished the first lap, so everybody's just kind of getting a feel of the course. Not a whole lot of action happening right now. Beautiful weather, a little bit cloudy, but we missed the rain. It was in the high 70s, a little bit of humidity. We're combined field again with 30s and 40s, so tactically, you know, like Jamie is in the lead from Tonga Part 1, so of course he's gonna be very vigilant and mark all the major moves on the front, because they do combine all the points from both omniums for the overall. I think I was sitting in ninth coming into this Part 2, and there was a few guys who didn't show up that were at Part 1 in both the 40s and the 50s, so it kind of changed the dynamic a little bit. That was a little kicker going over the start-finish line, and then you drop down a little bit, and then you go right into the hill again. There's my teammate Bart just to my right. We both kind of knew that if you didn't stay towards the front, you know, because the guys are going to go hard up over the hill, and then it's downhill, and if you're off the back, then you got to chase to get back on, and then when you get to the base of the hill, your legs are fried from chasing, and then you're just going to get burned off in a couple laps. And I think that's what happened to a lot of guys that were in the back. So I wanted to make sure that I stayed in the front. So once you crest this hill here, then it kind of goes downhill, and you get a little chance to recover. And that's the key to doing well in a course like this, is to roll over the top and stay closer to the front, so then you can just keep going with the guys in the front. You don't have to chase. Because once you're in chase mode, then your legs are blown. At least for me, I'm not a climber, so I have to ride smart. I did come into this round a lot fitter than I was the last round, just from extra training, a few speed work, practice crits, and just eating healthy, getting my weight down. Made a big difference. That's my teammate Bart. He's in 4th overall in the Omnium, and throughout this series he ended up getting 3rd overall for the two together. So there goes Mark Tucker in a move. They're gonna roll off the front. It's Owen Schott joined us as a warm-up race. He's one of the strongest masters in the country. He just actually, was he with us here? No, he wasn't in that move, but he bridges up. You'll see him fly by us on the inside and just rail that left-hand turn coming down the hill. So there's two 40s that went off the front, Mark Tucker and another guy, and you'll see Owen Schott go by us like a shot out of a shotgun and take the inside line going through the left turn here. There he is. So Owen's a really strong Masters racer, but usually races P12s, and he was using this as a warm-up for the P12 crit that he was doing later, because he's actually racing in the P12s. So I had asked the guys around me if this, you know, if they were 40s or 50s, and we determined that all the guys up there over 40s, so I wasn't really too motivated to get up and chase him down. And the guy right in front of me is Corey McCracken, and he's sitting 2nd in Omnium behind Jamie. So the guys that we needed to mark were around us, because, you know, we're trying to keep it together as much as we can, not let any 50s go off the front that are dangerous. Because we had Igor, that's Igor right there to my right, going up the hill. big strong guy. We got to know him throughout the series. He's a really nice guy. He gave us a bag of Georgia peaches. Definitely one of the strong guys to watch. So yeah, you just kind of you stomp up the hill, and then everybody would just kind of ease over the top, and then just use the downhill to get your legs back and recover. So, I mean, had we wanted to chase those guys up the road, it would have had to just be on the gas on the downhill too. So what I did was I just recorded the first few laps. Once the break got established, then I jump ahead to the finish, because that group that's off the front ends up lapping us, and that changes the whole dynamic of the race, which you will see. And that happens in racing. You have to be able to adjust and then react accordingly. So we're going across the start-finish line. They just rang the bell for a points preem. Points preems actually help in your omnium. So since I was at the front already, I wanted to bring these two back and maybe try to snag a couple of point preems if I could, and that might help move me up in the omnium. Or if Bart was on my wheel, he could launch off me and then he could take the points. But I didn't see Bart behind me, so I decided to just kind of roll up with these guys. And then as we go over the top of the hill, I just figured I would just take the front and just try to hit that last turn and carry my momentum up the hill and just sprint for the points preem without having to burn too many matches, because then you got to immediately go up a hill. So you don't want to sprint and load your legs up and then have to climb that 30-second hill. So I kind of just ease by him here. There's one guy in front of me here. I'm not sure if he was lapped or if he was off the front, but I wanted to kind of stay to the left here so that no one would dive bomb inside me, but I made a mistake and moved over a little too early, and Jamie snuck inside me. You can't take this turn too fast because it's actually a really fast kind of an off-camber turn. So the two of us were off a little bit. I didn't have to worry too much, so I got the second place points preem right there. Jamie got the first. And now I'm just going to jump ahead to towards the end of the race. I think we're going into lap cards at this point. I'll be able to tell when we go by the start-finish, but pretty soon you'll see Mark Tucker will come blowing by us on the hill, or just before the hill. He comes inside just before the hill, and he slides through and gets a bit of a gap off the front, and then a bunch of the 40s that had already been lapped jump with him, as well as Jamie, and it pulls a group off the front. And it was actually a really inopportune moment for Bart, because he had just gone for a points preem, and then they just throttled it up the hill and created. See, there goes Mark. So he just went inside of us right there. He's gonna go attacking. So he was off the front with Owen Schott, and they lapped us. So it's just, so far it was just the two of them off the front. And so then these guys go after him. There goes Jamie, and then I run into some traffic here, and they're just not going. And then there's Bart. Bart, he had just gone for the points preem, so he's a little bit, his legs are a little shot right there. So it was just a really bad timing for him. But there goes Corey McCracken. So my two biggest competitors are going up the road right now, so I've got to go with this. I was hoping Bart was able to tag on to the end of the group, but he always knows how to find me in the finish, and he'll usually say something to me. So I'm just going to mark these guys and stay with them, because we're going to be going into 5 laps to go here. So these guys are not going to let Mark go. Owen Schott's not going to let Mark go, so they're gonna drill this back. So you can see we're things are picking up now these last few laps. So I would usually downshift a couple gears right here and just try to keep my legs spinning, because I know that on bell lap you're going to be going up this hill pretty hard, because once you crest the hill then it's just downhill flying to the finish. So there's Mark. They brought him back, so he's able to stay with them. He's only really got one guy to mark, and that's Owen. And if I should have, I wish I would have thought of this, but my blood had left my brain at this point, and they're down in my legs. If I would have just let out the entire last lap, I probably could have helped Mark win this race. Hindsight's always 20/20, but I still didn't know where Bart was, so I was kind of saving myself for either a big massive lead out up the hill on the last lap, or being able to follow these guys' moves, because I knew that it was going to be fast. Got pinched right there. I just want to stay as close to the front as I can. I kind of flubbed up the finish of this race. You'll see. I mean, I'm going to try to move up a little bit here just to stay as close to Jamie as I can. He just knows this course so well. He's raced it so many times, and he lives here. Such a smart and smooth, fast racer. And I think Igor flatted. That's why he was going backwards right there. He had raced so well the whole race, had been to the front in the right spot all the time, and then I saw him going backwards, and I never saw him again. And we found out later that he had flatted, so there's no free laps at this point, because we're at, like, what does that say? Oh, bell lap. So yeah, I want to move past this guy. So what happens, so as we're going up the hill, I kind of move up behind Jamie here, and the Florida Velo guy comes up next to me, and he's like, my wheel, my wheel. And I'm like, okay, you can have it. I'm not going to fight you. You know, so I kind of just let him slide in behind Jamie, and I just figured if I'm going to make it up, I'll make it up later. There's, from this point on, you know, there's a lot of places to make up ground. What I should have done right here was move right to the front, use the downhill, and moved right to the front. But, you know, you're doing 34 or 35 right now, and it's a pretty sharp, little bit sandy left-hand turn right here, so there really wasn't much. And then from here to the bottom, it's also a very fast turn, so I would have had to ride like a total prick and possibly cause a crash to be able to move up. So my best option at this point was to just see. I lost a lot on that turn right there. That was my huge mistake. So I ended up getting pipped at the line by Corey McCracken just to my left there. Ended up getting third in the 50s. So there you go. That's stage 1, tour of North Georgia. I'll post a couple other clips of some of the other stages coming up. Thanks for watching.